Hello, everyone, and welcome to this episode of Wings Podcast. This is your host, Milind Agnihotri. On today's show, we will meet Abhishek Kolwankar, an event planner and marketeer in planning and organizing cycling events across India. He got introduced to this industry 6 years ago, and since then has designed and executed several cycling events in different parts of India and one in the US too. His goal is to make cycling a regular and popular activity for fitness and recreation in India. With a penchant for making new friends, Abhishek is not afraid to reach out and connect with the curious and the adventurous. Welcome, Abhishek, to this episode of Wings Podcast.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Milind. Excited to be here.
Same here, Abhishek. You know, we live in an era of experiences, especially that's how it has been very clearly articulated over the last 10-15 years, that the knowledge economy in many ways has a subtext of experience design economy. Just about everything that we talk about, whether we go on a holiday or whether we go on a restaurant or whether we go shopping or simply being with friends, somehow there is a clear focus in seeking and designing experiences. So I wonder if event management as an industry itself, which essentially in many ways is all about experience design, isn't it?
Yes, it is about it has a lot to do with your experiences building up through multiple events, etc., and things you learn through experiences, which constitute most of the event management, like learning process, and less of what you can acquire through theory. So it's like you said, experience in this case is practical experience. The short answer to that, yes, it's a more of a practical experience in industry.
And how did you discover this path for yourself as a profession, as an event manager?
I moved to Pune a few years back, almost it's more than a decade now, and I was inspired by my aunt who lives here, who has been staying in Pune for 30 plus years, aunt, uncle both, and they were the only people in my family who were entrepreneurs who were into business and two separate businesses. They still have their businesses running in Pune, and it always was fascinating for me how it was different. Their approach, their lifestyle was slightly different than people around me, my parents, my other family members who are in service industry. So I, like you said in the introduction, I always wanted to be I'm a more of a social person. I wanted to I like to go and connect with people, and yes, that was for socializing, but also for like to get ideas from and perspectives. I could see that happening in their life, my aunt and uncle's life, where they had excellent connections in Pune, and Pune was very like a quieter town back then, 20 years, 30 years back. Still, they had like very good connections in the cities, etc. So that was one of the reasons. I wanted to try this where I could the entrepreneurship part. That's where I got the inspiration also. I wanted to do and I knew that this was different than the regular process of me going through the engineering, getting a job, maybe moving abroad, etc. Yeah, the things, the experiences which come along with it were fascinated me and moved me towards that direction.
And cycling events, of course, they have been around for a while, but how did you discover a career space, which is at the intersection of the traditional, event management industry and this exciting world of cycling? How did you discover this intersection?
I actually stumbled upon cycling. Cycling found me, I would rather say. I used to like as any kid staying living in Mumbai, I used to cycle a lot to and fro from school and classes. But that was the only association I had with cycling, even after I came to Pune, which is a cycling city. And like any other event manager, I started with typical event manager. I started with the weddings, and it took me almost like 6 7 months of wedding and corporate work for various other corporate companies to finally find and stumble upon this opportunity where I had a chance of working on one of the Pune's biggest cycling event, which was Deccan Cliffhanger. I got that opportunity. Luck also played a very big part in it, and a few good friends who connected me to that opportunity. After that event, it kind of, again, like I said, it showed me a very different direction, which I was very excited to. And what I am today is kind of because of the route I took from that after the post that decision.
So, Abhishek, for those who do not know, if you can briefly explain what is Deccan Cliffhanger and when was the first event that you participated in of Deccan Cliffhanger, and what was your role there?
So Deccan Cliffhanger, it's a road race which has for cycling, which has a different which has the solo participant, like one person doing the entire distance, and there are teams, of course. It starts in Pune and it ends in Bogmalo, which is in Goa. It's an annual event, so happens every year. Before I got the chance to work on this event, it had already happened 3 times, and it had started building up popularity. Again, cycling is a pretty niche market in India, especially. The cycling is picking up even today, and it was picking up back then. So we started getting interest. The events started getting a lot of interest, and the organizers they had a few like sponsors which were coming in because of the growing popularity of the event. And with the sponsors, they had an extra wallet to spend money on building up their own team. So they were looking for somebody to take care of the logistics part, somebody who can take care of like the pre-event setup, during the event work, and also post-event wrapping up the whole etc. All the parts of the event. And that's where the opportunity came to me through a friend. His name is Monish, and he connected me to the owner of this Deccan Cliffhanger, lady called Divya Tate. She owns the event IP. I had a very interesting meeting with her where in which I only had an experience of doing wedding and corporate events. So I introduced her saying that I am a wedding event planner, but these are the only 3 4 events which I have done till now. But they have been successful. Of course, there are some challenges, as since I am a pretty new guy. It's only been 7 to 8 months I've been doing this professionally. I would like to work on this event, and I'm confident that I can pull it off. I was lucky that she saw the same in me, where she gave me the opportunity to come on board as an event as an event partner. Yes, from there, the relationship with her also grew into something which was more of a friend and a client. So the communication was very smoother. So from there onwards, we took up the event. Yeah, it was a successful one. So it was a start of a nice relationship for years to come in cycling industry.
You know what they say, and I was reading up as a part of preparation for our conversation today that cycling events in many ways are about participation of individual cyclists or cyclists who operate as a team. And much of
Hmm.
the duration, for example, this Pune Goa cliffhanger, Deccan cliffhanger could be done in multiple hours, could be 12 hours, 24 hours, whatever that the timeline would be. But much of the time, these cyclists are by themselves. And those who are in the event organizing business, like you, for example, the article that I read said that the primary focus is on three things: is to design the entire flag off experience, the start of the race, ensure that throughout the journey, safety and well-being of the participants is taken care of. And three, when the event ends, it's not just hush, abhi sab ho gaya, but also create something called the finish line experience. So did that happen to you
Yeah.
when you participated for the first time in your first event?
Yes, absolutely, absolutely. So everything you mentioned was happened during my first event. So luckily for me, that also increased a kind of pressure on me. Is the year I got involved with Deccan Cliffhanger, the event went big because we had more participants, more sponsors. So yes, we had money to spend. Yes, we had more people to manage at the same time. So everything went big. Initially, the event used to start on a side hotel near an highway, but this time the event was happening at a sponsored location by Paran Space. It's near Bhugao Forest Trails. So it was a huge banquet hall, which where we received the participants for first 2 days, 2 days prior to the event. Participants, like you said, this is participants. So this is a supported race. It's not a individual race. So yes, even in a solo event, a cyclist, one single cyclist will do the entire cycle, the entire distance, but he has a supporting crew which follows him behind him in a car, which called a support car, and that can be as small as three to a maximum of 6 7 people in two cars or one car. So imagine all these people coming along with him with their multiple cycles, because they have to get their cycles registered. They have to get the safety process done. They have to. We have a long checklist of for precautionary checklist also, and also necessary checklists which come with every cycling event. And so this event also was executed on it's a qualifier event for an US based global event. So it had to match all the standards of that event also. So it had all the it had to tick off all the global standards. So people coming in, asking questions, having concerns and everything. So this was all part of the first, like the flag off, the registration experience. Then came the flag off 2 days later, early morning. It's so this event happens always in November, first or second week, depending on the Diwali. The event is placed, and it's cold in Pune, especially in the outskirts, in the hilly regions where this venue is. It is really cold. We had a nice experience. Me and my team. So I had a nice team of volunteers put together for this event, which was even first time, because I never needed like a young, different, like energetic team before my previous events. So putting them together and working with them early in the morning in the cold, breezy night to set up the flag of places. 5 a.m. All the cyclists start showing up with their gears, with their lights on, with their cycles ready, and with their crew cheering and ready for the long 640 kilometers journey to Goa, cycle race to Goa. It's a very adrenaline full atmosphere, which kind of made took the cold and the sleep temporarily away from my eyes and my body.
Uh-huh.
So the flag off experience was really good. You could see the cyclist getting flagged off one by one. So
Mhm.
everybody gets flagged off at a distance of 30 seconds, so that we don't have any traffic issues going down the road. And once on the road, they are on their own all the way till Goa. Yes, the primary thing which we do on the road is marshalling. So once we have seen of all the people, all the cyclists, starting with the solo, then the team of two, team of four, etc., team of three and team of four, etc. Then our responsibility is, yes, to wrap up everything from the the most important things from the start venue, and go towards Goa for the finish part. But the most important part of this race is marshalling the race itself, because it's a cycle race. Everybody is competing on a same playing field, so we don't want anybody to take an unwanted advantage. So marshalling during the event on the roads we is very important, and we have a set of volunteers who are on their bikes or who are in their cars going to and fro on the route, uh, checking out on the riders, etc., on the bicycle riders, noting down if there are any violations, etc., during the event. And if there are, then the rider is notified of the same. And if the violations are really grave, then the rider is stopped from racing, because
Mhm.
that is very important, especially when everybody out there is taking equal efforts. So
Yes.
that is, yeah. So it just maintains the quality of the event also. So, wrapping up, my job was to head straight for Goa. So, I always tell these people that I am the last one to leave the venue after all the riders have left, and I'm supposed to be the first one to reach the end venue, because I have to go there, set up, and wait with a smile to welcome all the people who have been cycling crazy for hours. And
Yes.
in this event, it takes almost 20 to 24 hours for a rider to complete that distance,
Yes.
which is like, which after 24 hours of no sleep and continuous cycling, it's very hectic.
Correct.
And so I was very excited to see with the experience, like what it was going to be. And while on our route to Goa, we crossed few cyclists on the road, because since we were in a car, we were going much faster, and we
Yes.
caught up with few of the cyclists. And it was really exciting to see them in their zone, like speeding towards on the highways, and encouraging them. We did try to encourage them on our way also, like tell them, hey, good job, see you in Goa.
Mm.
So it was a really refreshing, a very different type of experience. Me and my team, after driving for like 10 hours, we reached Goa during the late hours of the day, of the same day the flag off happened. Immediately, our job was to set up the end venue. And Goa being Goa, you have to take all your resources along.
Yes.
You don't just get, you can't assume things will be available in Goa after 7 p.m. or 8 p.m. Other than, of course, alcohol and partying. That's the only thing which you can find everywhere in Goa. It was a learning experience where I had to calculate these scenarios, what could go wrong, what can go wrong, because in Goa we were on a ticking clock. We knew the cyclists were going to reach in few hours time. Since it was already late evening, we didn't have anywhere to go and get any additional resources. So we had to
Correct.
carry everything along with us
Correct.
and execute them. So it was a really fun, very anxious experience where we had to get the things done, but we got it done in good time. And then we had a nice waiting game for the riders to come. It's slightly tiring, the waiting game, because in a highlight you will see everyone coming in and everybody gets applauded, but
Correct.
in real sense, everyone the riders come in at very different timings. So one might show up at 4 a.m. in the morning, the other might show up at 5. So it's like 1 hour of waiting in between two exciting spurts of 15 minutes of excitement. But nonetheless, it was fun, because we were waiting on a beach. It was a shack, a restaurant which we had partnered with in Goa. Behind, we could hear the waves. It was a nice cold night. We were in Goa. That was the best part. So it was a nice experience that they were coming, and like when the riders started coming in.
And Abhishek, which year was this?
So this was in 2016, November of 2016.
How old were you then?
I was 25 then. I was 25,
And
25 years old.
and obviously there is no professional training or a certification or a graduate course you undergo to do something like this, right? Much of it is just learn on the job, respond to what shows up. Is that right?
Yes, yes, that's absolutely right. There were, even today there are no courses in cycling as such, like an event management. If you want to be very specific, yes,
Yes.
there are courses in event management, but I have learned everything at work. I have, like, from experiences and by getting into volunteering for events and other activities around. So yeah, yeah, that's how I learned about cycling events. That's how I learned about cycling events also. Yeah,
So 2016 is when you did your first cycling event management program
yeah,
in event.
yeah.
And then, of course, you've come a distance over 6 years, and but for probably the 2 years of pandemic, you have done a lot of now races all by
Hmm.
yourself, right from
Yeah.
contracting to conceptualizing to designing to executing. Any latest event that you have been a part of which is unique in its own way, which somehow you have had to use your entire 6 years of event management experience in the cycling, long distance cycling industry, which this particular project of yours is giving you an experience to deploy all those knowledge and skills. Love to hear that.
I have an event which is coming up this December this year, and we are actually supporting a cyclist who's cycling for charity from Manchester to Melbourne, so M2M, and we are his logistic event management partners in India. And India, his name is Andrew Crompton, and he'll be arriving in India in the first week of December, and we'll be helping him. He'll be cycling from Mumbai to Chennai via Goa and Bangalore. So it's a 21-day long cycling tour, 2100 kilometers, so 100 kilometers a day. Yes, this we have been in talks and working with them since May, because Andrew has already started cycling, had already started cycling in July when he started from Manchester. He's already, while we talk, he's already in Turkey. He's crossing Turkey, and he'll be reaching India soon in December. So we are helping him with executing that event from end to end, from support to logistics to bookings to food to nutrition, everything.
So if I were Andrew Crompton and you are my event manager for the India leg of my Manchester to Melbourne journey, what are the two or three things I would want you to help me, without which I would not be able to meet my goals or have a pleasurable experience on the Indian roads? What are the two or three things that Abhishek has to deliver?
So most important thing is the route recce. Route recce comes like route design first, of course, because we want them to have a complete Indian experience, like the nature, etc. While they are riding, because you get to experience, absorb more of it when you are cycling than you're driving around.
Sorry
So
to interrupt.
the most
Sorry to interrupt here, Abhishek. But this is not a race, right? This is this gentleman riding by himself for a personal charity cause.
Yes, it's not a race, it's a tour. So it's a charity tour, and it will be like one individual who will be cycling the entire distance, and
Mhm.
the distance he cycles, that amount of money will be donated, and also it is kind of an awareness for the charity back home in UK, back to in his home in UK.
So coming back to your
So yeah.
contribution to this particular project, what is it that you are tasked to do? Primarily, the top two, three
Yeah.
things.
So the primary thing is the designing a route which they can follow, so that they can complete the objective of having 2100 kilometers in 21 days. Second is so that the route is not that difficult or that easy at the same time. Gives a good challenge, but not too heavy of a challenge. Then second part is, once the route is done, to do a reconnaissance ride of that route, to actually check in person how exactly what are the conditions, or if there are certain amendments to the route which need to be done, or like the road conditions, which is the most important thing coming in India. Second thing, along with that, is during the recce reconnaissance itself, we have to look for food options, restaurants, etc., which can be used during the ride, and then also the hotels which will be used for staying. These are very important things which we suggest, we find out for the client, and we suggest along the route. So that comes also under the planning of the event. So these are all the things which are pre-event, and during the event, we help them with the logistic part, where we have a team which helps them during the event as a mechanic, which also the tourist part, the traveler part. We have a vehicle which follows him, which has all our stuff like food, nutrition, and luggage with along with us, and any kind of support he needs during the event. If like if he needs a physiotherapist to be along, or to just give him stretches, or give him a warm up, or give him if he has a sprain or something like, or any kind of a muscle or medical need. Those kind of services where you put a team together, that is also something which we have like provide Andrew with this tour in this tour.
Wonderful, wonderful. So if I were to ask you that in this 6 years of journey of yours in managing and executing cycling events in India, from the 2016 Deccan Cliffhanger, the first event, to the one that is happening in December supporting Andrew, if Abhishek has learned a few things in life or about himself, what would that be?
Most important thing I've learned is organizing. I have like so I'm a, my things are my digital elements in my life, like everything which is on my PC is very well organized, very neat, and like I can easily find things around. But things around me, which are like the real life things, are certain things which needed that extra learning which I got from my events, of getting organized and in a proper form. That is one of the biggest learnings, because that has helped me keep a track of whatever I'm doing, and whatever conversations I'm having, and it helps me not get overwhelmed with when especially when too many things are happening, or too many events and work is happening. Also helps me remember, and takes a toll off my head because yeah, it's just like organizing is some part of organizing is also that not forgetting very important things,
Correct.
especially when you're doing other important things also, which you need priority and your attention at
So,
that right time.
so
So
beautifully
yeah.
said, and probably you have not said it, but I could sense it. Is one of the lessons you may have learned is also the lessons of patience and waiting.
Yes, yes. I think entrepreneurship has taught me that very well, of how to be patient, how to have a control over your emotions at certain times. When of course showing emotions is not going to do any good for you, or is not going to do anything better. In both ways, in good and in bad way also. So yeah, that is
Absolutely.
something I've definitely done.
Great. So, Abhishek, over the last 5, 6 years that you have been actively involved in organizing cycling events in India, the long distance ones, you have been involved, as I read in the introduction of yours, you have been involved in one in the US too.
Yes, the event's name is Race Across America, and that's the easiest description of that event, because the race is actually from the west coast of US, which is near LA, Oceanside County in California, to east of coast of US, that is Annapolis in Maryland, near Washington DC, and it's a 4,800-kilometer race, which is 12 days long, which crosses three time zones. And I was lucky to be part of it along with a crew of 10 other Indian people supporting a rider called Kabir Rachure, who qualified from our events at Deccan Cliffhanger for the race across America. And he approached me because he had seen my skills, etc. During the event in India. So he approached me to be part of his crew, and I was it was a completely different experience, and because it's a huge mammoth event, and yes, it was my first trip to US as well, where I got to cross the country in a slower pace, cycle pace, but got to see the best parts of US, notably Grand Canyon, Zion National Park, and the Rockies and the Appalachians and the flats in Kansas. So it was a very beautiful experience.
And what year or season was that? Which part of the year, which time of the year of the season was that?
So it was during 2019 summer. The race was in the second last week of June. So yeah, it was prime summer back in US that time.
But then the summer experience across the 3 time zones of US across 4,800 kilometers would be constantly changing, isn't it?
It's changing every night. So every 12, all 12 days, we took 12 days to reach the final, and it was different every single day. Day one, we were in California, the heat, the sandy dunes of California near San Diego. Next day, we were in Arizona. Arizona takes you from desert to forest to snow-clad mountains, and then it takes you. Then you go into Utah, where you have the Grand Canyon, where you're basically cycling through the Grand Canyon. That it's very different. Then you start climbing the Rockies in Colorado. Then you're entering the tornado zone, where we actually saw a live tornado crossing the street, where we had to
Wow.
wait for the tornado to pass. So it
Wow.
was a very different experience. All these years, things you have seen on TV, and then the flats of Kansas, where like basically it's like golden fields on both sides, and you don't. The tallest thing in Kansas is the granaries they have.
Correct.
Rest everything is flat. And then the change again. There is a change when you go into Missouri and you cross the mighty Mississippi River, and then you enter Ohio, which is a hilly place, green, beautiful, but hilly. Eventually, we cross to West Virginia, the Appalachian Mountains ranges, which are very beautiful, which have beautiful cottages and like farms around you, vineyards, and eventually going into the heavily metropolitan areas of DC and Baltimore, and ending the race on the East Coast, on the Atlantic coast. So we had this ritual where we dipped the cycle's back tire in the Pacific Ocean at the start, and then we dipped it again in the Atlantic Ocean at Maryland after we finished
Wow.
the race.
Wow.
So it was a crazy experience as a tour itself, and other than the racing and the event part of it.
No, I think in many ways, as I kind of heard you, is the terrain itself adds to the magic, isn't it, Abhishek? Because a multi-day event crossing, let's say in a country like US, maybe multiple time zones. But even if you look at the terrain in India, which is so beautiful, I was reading about cycling events in the Thar Desert in Rajasthan. There are cycling events which go up country all the way from Delhi or Chandigarh up to Leh, Ladakh. There are ones in the northeast. Then there are, of course, the Nilgiris and the Sahyadris. I think India as a country also
Yeah.
offers amazing landscape for organizing cycling events, isn't it?
Yes, yes, yes. Of course, of course. Like the event which we are actually doing in December, it has the best parts of the Konkan coast. It has the best parts of the Goa coast again, which is very different. The coast itself, the climbing into the coast. Then you climb into the coffee plantations of Coorg, a very different kind of atmosphere. Then you climb all the way down to the city metropolitans of Mysore, Bangalore, and then you have a very different kind of setup in Chennai, in Tamil Nadu, all the way to Pondicherry, and now you're on the once at Pondicherry, you're on the Coromandel coast now. So you're on the other side of the Indian continent. and then all the way down to Chennai, which is very hot and humid compared to the other cities which will be starting in, like Mumbai, Bangalore, and Mysore. Yeah.
So would you be
So it's a
repeating
very
the
very
would you be repeating the ritual that you did in the US, where here you could ask Andrew to dip his rare wheel in the Arabian Ocean in Mumbai city and do the same once he reaches Chennai in the Bay of Bengal?
I, I'm definitely going to suggest him that we do that because it is a start. It kind of portrays the start of an event and the culmination and at end of an event. So
Absolutely.
and since it's a cycling event, the tires wheels are the one who do the journey also along with us. So why
Absolutely.
not give
That will
them
be
the much needed dip?
absolutely. But Abhishek,
Yeah.
how does your people at home, your near and dear ones, look at all this? uh, because your chosen path in terms of your professional career is very different. It's event management, yes, which is kind of generic, but specifically into cycling events where you're probably days and weeks you are traveling and you're out of home and all that. How do people at how has people who are near and dear to you, how have they received you in doing what you are doing?
So there was initial resistance. I've come from a Maharashtrian household, so where everybody has been in service, and that was a kind of a plan for me also. I'm the only child, so the whole focus and everything was on me to do engineering, then go away for masters, etc. So it was a very difficult decision for them to accept at the start, where I wanted to do a very different career path. But a few years into it, like few months into it, when they saw that the feedback which I got and the feedback which they received from people of their age about my work in the event thing, the kind of the confidence in my ability started building up in their mind. So once that happened, the minimal resistance they had, the maybe the lack of trust, not trust as such, but the confidence whether I would be able to do good in this, etc. This profession was no more, was removed kind of from their mind. So yeah, it was there in the initial stages definitely. But today they support my work end to end. Even during the time of pandemic when the events were not happening, they have supported me both financially and either all other ways also, since there were no events happening, especially outdoor events like cycling, etc. So yeah, they have been a huge pillar in my work because in events, cycling events, I have been away for months at a stretch, away from home, and or at like even during events which are in Pune, I have been away. I have to travel at like late hours. I have to come back at late hours, and there are always volunteers and people who are coming in and out of the to our place, to the office, etc. at like late hours again. So they have been accommodating and adjusting to that those parts of my event management life also. So they have been the backbone and a great support.
Abhishek, I guess your ride has just begun and there are
Yeah.
miles and miles to go from here. So, where does Abhishek see himself going in this profession that he's chosen?
So I personally wish that the cycling community and the cycling industry grows in India. Yes, as a race or like a competition sport oriented business also, but also like a recreation. So I see myself being part of it, part of both the avenues of cycling in future, as an organizer and as a cyclist who is part of the community, helping the community either have fun while they cycle and also compete and achieve certain of their like dreams or like goals in future. So yeah, that is where I see myself and my company MNC event in future.
So beautifully said. And I think in many ways, in an event of this nature, which is cross country or across a huge continent like the US, while the focus and the camera is on the cyclists and the entire cycling event, there are people like you who are behind the curtains, invisible in many ways, making all this happen. Wish you great success. This has been a wonderful, wonderful conversation, Abhishek. Thank you very much. So wish you good luck. Take
Yeah.
care and
Thank you
stay
so much.
safe. Bye bye.
Thank you so much. Thank you. Bye bye. Bye bye.
Thank you for your time today, my dear listeners. This is your host, Milind Agnihotri, signing off. Goodbye, take care, and stay safe. This podcast is for general information purposes only and should not be considered as a piece of any professional advice. Views and opinions expressed in this podcast are those of its guest. Creators of this podcast expressly disclaim any and all liability or responsibility for any direct or indirect, consequential, or other damages arising out of any individual's use of this podcast. For feedback and suggestions, please write to wingsindia75 at gmail.com. Thank you.